Hey everyone, not Xeon from Nintendo Live here, but I am joined by Xeon from Nintendo Live here. I'm John.
Hey, it's me, not John. Wait, who am I again?
And we also have Alex from Nintendo Live here.
Do bees have lips?
We're going to answer that question and more in this chat. So we kind of went through our E3 chat last week quite quickly because of time is of the essence. So I think it's time to elaborate a bit more and get a bit more excitement built up. So are you guys ready to talk about our hopes, our desires, and our dreads for the upcoming E3 presentation?
I most certainly am.
I'm so excited because I don't really even want a whole lot. So if I get any of this, I'll be peachy.
Well, I kind of want to start with you, Xeon, because you seem content, but I want to know how far that contentness goes. So what's your biggest dream for this?
Oh, my biggest dream. Oh man. Okay. So one thing that I was thinking about that I feel like is a very fair prediction is that Nintendo Switch Online gives us Nintendo games, Super Nintendo. We get Pac-Man versus, GameCube on the brain. Am I right?
Nearly.
Pac-Man 99, Tetris 99, Mario 35, RIP. There are still tons of classic games that Nintendo could be giving us that they just aren't. You know, maybe we'll get GameCube and N64 down the road. Maybe we'll get Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. But what I think would be really cool is if Nintendo implemented Satellaview games into the service. Because that's something that I've heard that there's ways to download these games online and still play them, but imagine being able to download BS Zelda and be able to play that with, is that the one that had the commentary as you played throughout the game?
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. That there's a remake of Zelda 1 and also a pseudo-sequel to Link to the Past, like via the broadcast that have different people communicating to you. And can you imagine that just replicated through online? Like, that could work really well.
The fact that they haven't done it already is BS The Legend of Zelda.
Thank you. Well done. Well done. But yeah, I just think that's, we already seen Nintendo do a little bit of that by just even releasing, Panel de Pon on the Nintendo Switch Online service in the US here. So it's not like they're hesitant to release things that we never got here. And I don't know, it just seems like just why not? You have the ability, Nintendo, and if they still have it in their vault, why not?
I want to raise the stakes a bit, Xeon. So if this doesn't happen, or let's get a bit broader, if no future Nintendo consoles are added to the online service, I want you to tweet, "Boy, Chibi Robo Ziplash, what a game!" with an exclamation mark at the end.
I'll do it. I'll take one for the team. If that doesn't happen, I'm very confident we're gonna get some new system. If it's not Satellaview, it's at least Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So I'll do that. I'll take on the Chibi Robo Ziplash bet.
What about you, Alex? Any big predictions you got over there?
We'll go with a prediction, and then if I could, there's not a huge amount to say about it, so if I could segue straight into my want, would that be okay?
You know what? I think we can allow that.
I mean, I think John pretty much asked me what my want was, and I gave him a prediction. So do whatever you want.
Okay, so what I actually kind of expect to see, and it's a little bit hopeful, don't get me wrong, ARMS 2, honestly.
Ooh.
Sure.
Because I think, frankly, it's been so long since the original ARMS came out. It sold really bloody well. Like, I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about it, but it sold bloody well. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to look up the numbers.
It gets dismissed a lot. ARMS sold, I think it was around 3 million units, which for a new fighting IP is crazy. And I know people like to relate it to Splatoon, but that's a shooter versus a fighting game. And of course the shooter is going to sell more. But yeah, for a new fighting IP, ARMS was really successful.
ARMS sold 2.38 million units. It outsold Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Yoshi's Crafted World, Octopath Traveler, Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 1 Variety Kit.
It outsold that?
It outsold that, all right.
Well, I guess the question is what is the development team doing right now? Because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe wasn't their full resources. They're putting that into ARMS at the time. And since then, they've done Mario Kart Tour. I don't know what they're doing now.
Honestly, I think whilst it's not like guaranteed by any stretch, I don't think it's that unlikely at all. Like I say, it sold really well for a brand new IP, and bear in mind that this, when it released, the Switch was really in its infancy. And so, it was by no means struggling, but Nintendo were fighting a bit more of an uphill battle at that point. And for a brand new IP which focuses almost exclusively on motion controls, I know you can use a Pro Controller, I just refuse to do it. I think it did fantastically, and I think there is so much scope with what they could have done, and it needs a little bit more flesh on the bones, absolutely, because it was kind of just like the fighting modes and you had bits and bobs here and there, and the fighting is excellent and really replayable, but something to ground the experience, some sort of context. Why is this going on? Sort of a bit more like Splatoon, where you have the single player and it has a story and things like that. Just something to make us, sort of understand the world a little more.
Yeah, there was lore, but it was on social media for some reason, not in the game. I think I'd much rather the Mario Kart team be working on ARMS 2 than Mario Kart 9. Because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's an old game, sure, but it's wildly successful, and Nintendo have proven they can sit on that forever. I'd rather the team do something a bit different than just another Mario Kart game.
The big reason why I never really got into ARMS was the fact that it just didn't have a story mode. I don't play a lot of online games myself, and I really enjoyed the characters and the world that they were in, but for me, Splatoon 2, the most I've played with that game was actually the campaign, and I really enjoyed it a lot. And so, yeah, I think if they came out with ARMS 2 and had a story mode...
I love it. I love ARMS to death. But that's what I expect. What I hope to happen, now this is a little bit outlandish, I'm not going to lie, is I want there to suddenly be a live presentation from Nintendo. Miyamoto walks out in front of thousands of people on a big stage made of platinum and says, "Hello there, lovely people. Alex now owns Nintendo and all the money in the world, and he will now run Nintendo, but he doesn't have to do anything, and he gets to live in a big house, and his cats will be happy." And then they released Doshin the Giant 2.
Wait, that's not an expectation? I thought that's on my list too.
I think Alex is just telling us one of his dreams. Do you have this like weekly, night after night?
I don't have a lot of dreams.
Where do we go from here? What do we do now?
Well, I've got both a prediction, and I think this is actually a fairly... We're just going to bypass Alex's dream. Yeah, this is both a prediction and one. And I think it's quite a easy thing to guess, but Kirby has gone now 3 years without a game, and Hal said something quite interesting recently, that Star Allies was the end of that era. And by that I think they mean like the Kirby's Return to Dreamland Kirby Wii era, where they're all just kind of like, they're very similar side-scrollers. And in Kirby Fighters 2, there was data mined, showing 3D movement for Kirby. So I think it's very likely that Kirby is going to make the jump to 3D, and I think we're going to see it in this Direct.
I mean, to be fair, there's 3D movement in Star Allies, it's just literally on the overworld.
That's true. But yeah, we're out of that era though, that's ended now. What's next? They've hyped it up a bit, saying that this is going to be a special Kirby game. So hopefully it's something different. Because I liked Star Allies, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. I mean, Robobot was a really fun and interesting take on the same formula. And just going back to something a bit more simple didn't quite satiate me. So I'd much rather Kirby becomes a bit more daring with this one.
I mean, that doesn't sound that unrealistic either, because the Switch era has kind of been the place where some of these, I don't want to say old IP, but these IP that have been around for so long are trying new things. And I'll say, if they have an air ride mode in there, even what's like a battle mode, if this is a 3D game, I'm all set. My brother and I used to play that so much. You really do have
GameCube on the brain, don't you?
I guess so. I mean, I don't want an air ride 2 necessarily, but if they just slap that little race battle mode in this new 3D game, oof.
So yeah, I think 3D Kirby could happen. Any Kirby in any capacity probably will happen. Hopefully it's 3D though. But Xeon, back to you. Do you have another prediction and or want or desire, whatever you want?
So this is a big want for me, but I also think it's a prediction too. So obviously I'm a big Undertale fan. I've talked about it. I put it in my top 5 favorite Switch games, and it's probably in my top 10 just favorite games in general. And Deltarune Chapter 1 came out, I just looked it up again. It came out in February of 2019. And Toby Fox, earlier this year, the creator, announced or came out and said that progress was going smoothly on Chapter 2. And, but we haven't really heard anything about it. And he's clearly in close connection with Nintendo for the fact that he he got to make a song for Pokemon Sword and Shield. And, Nintendo's always just kind of pumping Undertale and Deltarune. So I would love to see Deltarune Chapter 2 maybe not get shadow dropped, because I'm not going to have time to play that during E3 week. And I don't know if a lot of other, media people probably aren't either. But I would love to just see it, to just know something about it. I loved Deltarune Chapter 1. I was really surprised because Undertale is it's a masterpiece in many ways.
I want to see them collaborate with Nintendo and create Delta Earthbound Rune.
God, that's a big dream prediction though too, honestly, Alex. Not a collaboration. I don't want that.
I don't know why you guys are being so pessimistic about my expectations, frankly.
Who's your favorite character in Undertale again? It's Sans, right?
Sans Undertale is my favorite.
Yes. That's right. Okay.
I haven't played Undertale.
I know that. And that's someday you will.
You can feel the pain in his voice.
Someday you will. But that's enough. You bring up a good topic or a point though. Also, I would love to say that I know this for a fact, but I feel like we've heard in the past that Itoi does not want to make another Earthbound game. But what if Toby Fox got to make one, right? I feel like he wouldn't do that right now because Deltarune is still, it's not finished yet. But if Nintendo came to him and Itoi came to Toby Fox and were like, hey, we want you to make a new Earthbound game, would Toby Fox say no to that? Would that happen? Would he, I feel like he would have to shelve Deltarune, but maybe at the same time he would be like, no, I'm working on my own thing. And they would go, oh, man, this guy's got a lot of guts.
It's hard to say. I mean, Deltarune and Undertale, while they're inspired by Earthbound, they're so much bigger than Earthbound has ever been. So maybe he's satisfied doing his own thing. But on the topic of Earthbound, though, I don't expect Mother 3 to get localized. I don't expect Mother 4. But I do think it's not impossible for Grezzo or someone to do a remake of Mother 1 or Mother 2.
Yeah, that's possible. Oh, imagine if they could actually capture the clay art style that they had in all the promotional material.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I can't take it, guys. I can't take it.
Back to you, Alex. Do you have another big one or another small one, another medium-sized one? What have you got for us?
I'm gonna go medium, I think. I expect we're gonna see something about Splatoon 3.
Sure.
There you go. No. The thing is that there was something that was brought to my attention by a friend of mine, Paul, who's been mentioned on the channel in the past. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
That there was a game mode in Splatoon 2, a ranked mode that never showed up, but it was data mined out. And this, sort of all this information comes courtesy of a lot of people, including at FamiComplicated, at Oatmeal Dome, at Simon1844, and at Pedro Neg, where there was this game mode called Rocket. And it wasn't entirely finished, but mechanically, it works. If you get the code, actually, if you access it, it works in Splatoon 2. And it's kind of similar in some regards to some of the other ranked modes, and it may well be something that they've just decided to shelve, but I think Splatoon 3 could well be the right time to bring this back.
That'd be very cool. I remember the Octolings were data mined in Splatoon 1 to be playable. They weren't the same models from the campaign either. These original builds. And that didn't come along
eyes
until...
and everything. They didn't have the goggles.
Yeah, and that was shelved not only until Splatoon 2, but Octo Expansion is when they came along. So clearly they hold on to these ideas.
Absolutely, and, it's, as I say, it's mechanically somewhat similar to the others, but at the same time, I think it's just different enough. There's some weird things going on with it, you have to shoot this rocket, and then it slowly, as a result, it, blasts off and gets closer to the enemy base. You have to get it to a certain distance from the enemy base to win, but when it blasts off, it drops a rocket nozzle, which is a weapon that you can pick up, and it's not ultra powerful or anything like that, but it's just so weird that they did all this and that it was working in the game. and then we just saw nothing of it. And like every time there was a major update, it's going to be, oh, the rocket mode. No. So Splatoon 3, baby.
Splatoon 3 is interesting for another reason too, is we're getting to the point where all those 2017 launch games are starting to get their sequels. Well, we got Breath of the Wild 2 coming along. We got Splatoon 3 coming along.
Super Mario Odyssey 2 was announced last night when no one was paying attention.
It's just done at the break of dawn. No one even saw it.
Yeah, we didn't even bother covering it.
There's a lot of rumors going around about the Pro. A lot of different sources claim they've heard it. And that would make a lot of sense to launch all these other upcoming, sequels to these launch titles with a more powerful machine. And I've gone on about this in my head for a while now, about whether the Pro is going to be announced in this presentation or before E3. And it just seems weird to show Splatoon 3 and all these other games without the Pro, because it feels like it's coming. Too many people are saying that it's coming for it to have no smoke at all. So do you think that we could see the Pro in this presentation?
I tell you what, John, just yes or no, do you think we'll see it?
I feel like we won't. They don't typically show revisions in Directs. They could break that rule anytime they want to. But I feel like that there's a lot of complications in mass-producing machines right now. And just from all that's going on with the PS5 and Series X, I'd say that we probably won't get the Pro until next year, and I see no point of announcing it now if it's coming next year.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, you're sort of like, in a word, you said no, you don't expect to see it, okay?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Right, you're forfeit if the Switch Pro, or whatever it's called, a successor to the Nintendo Switch, be it a mid-gen thing or whatever, if it gets announced at E3 or even just revealed, you have to tweet that Kiddy Kong is the best Kong.
Oh, God. All right, I'll take it.
That's rough.
Yeah. Wait, so does this have to be in the presentation? If they announce it before it, am I free of this rule?
I think we'll allow you, if it's for whatever reason, if it's announced beforehand, you get off with just tweeting just the word Kiddy Kong.
Oh, that might be even worse. Okay. I'll take it. Okay. Fingers crossed, no Pro.
I feel like it. I agree with you, John. Nintendo typically, from what you've shown in our talks, even in the past, it seems like Nintendo hasn't really shown off a bunch of hardware or announced it at E3. But E3 is what dreams are made of, right? But at the same time, you're right. Like, Sony is clearly showing some problems with the fact that they're releasing new games on PlayStation 5 and people aren't able to buy these games or don't want to buy these games because they don't have the hardware to play on, and Nintendo doesn't want to create that problem for players either. And I think they would do the split thing where games can still be played on last gen Switch and the new version, but at the same time maybe not, because things like Xenoblade Chronicles, that was new 3DS exclusive, and Hyrule Warriors Legends was a step in the middle where you shouldn't play it on last gen hardware. But I don't know. It's so hard to predict. I'm hoping that they do announce it, because I would love to see all these new games featured on new hardware, and then just know that they also run on last gen hardware as well. Or I feel weird calling it last gen, but Switch 1 and Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever. So I would say yes. And I already have a bet with John going. I don't think you want to slap something else on top.
You know what? To make it proper interesting, even though I am very much in two minds, I will take the bet that it will be featured.
Alex, if the Switch Pro doesn't get announced at E3 in the presentation, you have
Shall I write the draft now?
You have to tweet that you are going to play Undertale in someday.
I'll tweet that now, mate.
Let's set a date. Play Undertale by September 12th, 2021.
Why the 12th of September?
Remember, the 12th of September.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
I do like that. I just didn't know if it was too much pressure. But you're right. You should play it. Play Undertale, Alex. Yeah, this'll get them.
So all this talk about the Pro and franchises from the first year coming back, it's weird because the Switch now is older than the Wii U was before the Switch came along. It's lived a longer life than the Wii U at this point.
Really?
Yeah. So
Bloody
they both,
wars.
the Wii U's lifespan was just over 4 years, and the Switch has now surpassed that.
And it's healthy.
Yeah, and Nintendo is saying it's in the middle of its life cycle too, which is, they've got to be extending it somehow. And one game that also came out in 2017 was Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Ooh.
Since then, they did Torna in 2018, which is an expansion, and then they remastered the first game, which wouldn't have taken the full resources, given they're just kind of building upon the first one. So, I guess the last time they were in full development for a brand new game was 2017, even though they've done stuff since then. So I reckon it's about time. Like Xenoblade Chronicles X had I think a 3-year difference between X and 2, and I believe it's like 60 employees that were constantly working on 2 as well. So Monolith Soft, they get by magically making these big open world games with very few resources. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Xenoblade Chronicles 3, or whatever the next game is not only on the way, but is like almost finished.
I wouldn't put it past them, actually. Weren't there listings a while ago for... I think they were hiring for Xenoblade 3, weren't they?
They showed off some concept art, which that might not be related to a game, but it was like this medieval-looking thing, and that was way back, I want to say like 2 years ago now. So I feel like they are definitely building themselves up for something big.
I think we're going to see Xenoblade Chronicles X, finally.
I mean, that would be cool too,
Ooh,
to just
sure.
do a port of X. People want that.
X was really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was quite a different game, but I really enjoyed X. I never completed it, and I'd like the opportunity to do so.
One of the few big Wii U games left. And it'd be really cool to say like, oh, we're doing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 next year, but in the meantime, X is coming right now.
Maybe it would even look like the initial trailer when they revealed it, when it was just called, I think, like X.
Yeah, it was just called X, wasn't it?
Because I remember that initial trailer looked bonkers, and the final game still looks really good, don't get me wrong. Yeah, the initial trailer really kind of oversold it a little bit, so a bit of spit and polish, make it look like that, I'd be a happy sausage.
I feel like either of those predictions are really fair, especially with the fact that Pyra and Mithra, that they both just came to Smash as well, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you can't even buy it, at least in the US here, you can't buy it on store shelves anymore. You can still find just standard Xenoblade Chronicles, HD, whatever, remaster, 2, you could find that, but yeah, I feel like that would be cool for Nintendo to bring back more Xenoblade, and it's selling so well. So
Not as well as ARMS, but it's up there.
That kind of puts it into perspective, because when you look at ARMS in comparison to something like, the best-selling game, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Animal Crossing is so close behind, it's terrifying. ARMS only selling 2.3 million, 2.4 million, doesn't sound like a lot, but again...
We lose perspective on sales, like 1 million is a lot.
And Min Min's in Smash now.
right, yeah.
1-2 Switch 2.
I wouldn't even be surprised if that happened. 1-2 Switch sold really well, and it was obviously
New
because
1-2 Switch.
it's obviously because it was a
Yeah.
launch game. Of course, it was going to sell well, but I can see just guys in suits saying, this is a popular IP. Let's bring it back."
And then somebody's like, well, actually, we were thinking about doing some of the same thing, but making it a WarioWare game. And then those suits go, what's a WarioWare? I think that 1-2 Switch looks pretty family-friendly to me.
If
And then
the
we all
next
cry.
WarioWare is 1-2 Switch orientated, I will puke.
1-2 WarioWare.
Oh no. We talked about WarioWare a bit in our last predictions. I do think it's going to happen. And not long after we posted that, Nintendo posted a survey asking, would you buy WarioWare for $50? So it seems, looks like a lock at the moment that WarioWare is going to happen.
Yeah, it looks like Nintendo were paying attention to our video, which is kind of them.
They started work and they nearly finished it while listening to our chat. But you got me worried now that there's going to be 1-2 Switch in gameplay. And
Is that a
please
bet,
no.
John? Is that a bet that if it's a 1-2 Switch game, you'll barf?
Yeah, I will barf. If this WarioWare, if it's not micro games, I'm gonna barf. It needs to be micro games.
What about Ring Fit Adventure 2?
I mean, DLC for that seems like a big possibility as well.
Well, they've already done an update. It wasn't DLC per se, but they added like a rhythm game and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Right.
Which I still have not. I've had ambitions to play, and I just still have not.
Oh my god! Sorry, I've just seen the sales figures. It
Yeah.
sold 10 million.
Do you know what that makes
Wow.
it? That makes it the best-selling new JRPG of the generation.
That's great.
That's wonderful. And it's a great game. I should play it more often than I do. It outsold Super Mario Maker 2 and Monster Hunter Rise. Admittedly, Monster Hunter Rise hasn't been out very long at all. Monster Hunter Rise has sold 7 million since the 26th of March.
It is bonkers that the Switch can launch between PS5 and Series X, and it's not even sweating. It's fine. But yeah, I think Ring Fit Adventure is way bigger than people give it credit for. And I actually had a similar Ring Fit prediction, but it wasn't about a sequel. It was about Drago, the big buff dragon, coming to Smash.
Drago in Smash?
I can see it happening.
He's too big. They'd have to hunch him over and shrink his wings and things like that.
Oh, you're right. Way too big. Never going to work.
I feel like the Ring Fit... What do we call them? The Ring Fit Trainer? Is that what we're going to call them?
I think their name is Sam.
Alright, so Sam, I feel like they could be very unique. They can use like their Ring as a recovery or something like that. But you're always going to draw comparisons to the Wii Fit Trainer. Whereas Drago, this big buff dragon...
True. I mean, in terms of like moveset availability, I think, the trying to compare Wii Fit Trainer and Sam is thinking very sort of literally about a fitness game.
Yeah.
The Ring Con alone, Ring as a character, Ring and Sam.
Ring.
I think there's huge potential there. I don't think you need to sort of like stick things in little boxes about being a fitness game. I think it would be a great addition. Drago, I think, is cool, but I don't know. I'd love to see them put him in and do it proper and do him justice, but I wouldn't know how I would do that personally, which means it can't be done.
Well, here's the thing, okay, Alex. So, let's say a Ring Fit character is in Smash. If it's Ring Fit Trainer, or if it's Sam, I have to do a 7-day tweet thread showing my progress in Ring Fit, which I'll play every day for that week. If it's Drago, you've got to do that.
Okay, and if it's neither?
Then,
we get Xeon's new lights.
I'll just play Ring Fit with you guys regardless of what happens.
What a harsh bet. We've got to exercise.
Any reason to boot that game up is fine. I need some accountability.
Well, I guess we're kind of on Smash at the moment, so do you think 2 characters are going to be announced in this presentation, or just the one?
I think just Drago. I think Drago's a dead cert.
Drago's a lock.
He's such a jerk, though.
Yeah. Oh, Bowser. Yeah, Ridley, he's the life and soul of the party. He didn't murder anyone and then just be like, I don't know, weirdly relaxed about it. I've not read the comics. I don't really know.
If Drago gets in, the fan art is going to go wild.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, I've just realized there's going to be a particular vein of fan art involving Drago, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, there will be.
There probably already is.
I'm sure there is. But for a moment, I know this is impossible. Let's set aside Drago. Do you think there's any other character that you expect to be in this presentation?
My cat Cobweb.
Are you just looking around the room and saying things, Alex?
You know what, Xeon? You're a very astute young man. You know that.
It'll just be a Fox clone. I mean, Cobweb's always wielding a gun.
Always. Yeah.
She does make a kind of a pew noise when it's time to eat. She's currently climbing into a recycling bin, and she's in, and she's tipped it over.
I'm going to pass this to Xeon now. Xeon, do you think there's going to be any character? Who do you expect the Smash character to be in this presentation?
So I had a really fun thought yesterday, and I kind of thwarted it myself, unfortunately. So I was thinking it would be amazing because this character has not been in good graces in a while. The spotlight has been it's been very small, and it's a very negative light. And I think it would be amazing to see Chibi Robo as a new Smash character. Now I know the thing that destroyed that for me is that Chibi Robo was I believe a costume for one of the Mii fighters.
Sure.
Or just for Mii fighters in general, and so that I feel like that kind of thwarts that thought. But the reason that I would love to see Chibi Robo is because Chibi Robo would have an amazing moveset because there's so many there's so many just different abilities and attacks that could be possible with him, and
so many zip lashes.
Oh gosh, don't just
the Zip Flash would be
forget
the final Smash, and you know it.
Chibi Robo just throws all of the copies of Ziplash that were dug out of a landfill at the opponent. They just flood the screen entirely.
Oh man. on your Mii costume comment, I feel like Chrom is just the ultimate like negator of that. Because with Chrom, he is in a Final Smash, he is in a victory pose, but he's also a playable character. So Chrom can be killed by Chrom, and then Chrom can applaud Chrom. Are there any rules when Chrom can do that? I also feel like there's no real assist trophy rule either, because like Knuckles appears in Green Hill Zone, and when that happens, the Knuckles assist trophy is just disabled. So like, if let's say I don't think it's going to happen, but like let's say Waluigi does get in, they would just disable his assist trophy when he is in play. Like it's no big deal.
Or they just reply, or instead of Waluigi coming out of the assist trophy, you know, it's like the classic thing, you know, sort of when Toon Link is in the fight, Gus drives the train or whatever his name was, and then Gus says, "Leave it to me." Who remembers that? That's a blast from the past.
Alfonso was his name. I was trying to wrap my brain around it.
Yeah. Alfonso. So when Waluigi's, you know, comes out of the Pokeball when he's fighting, it's not Waluigi, it's Alfonso. And Alfonso says, "Wah, leave it to me," or something to that effect.
It's fixed. See, Nintendo, all of your problems are solved.
Now just get Miyamoto to come out on a platinum stage and give me the money.
So the reason I want Chibi Robo is because I want a new Chibi Robo game. It's been 6 years since Ziplash came out, and that doesn't count at all. The original came out in, 2005? And even Park Patrol, that was 2007. And I know we got some weird little things on I can't remember if it was a DSi. I know it was definitely 3DS. But those weren't necessarily the remakes or the continuations of the series that we wanted either. I think Japan even got a sequel that we never got. Now that I'm looking at the dates and thinking about it,
I believe.
Yeah, and so it just feels like that this would be a great way for Nintendo to bring back Chibi Robo, because if they just dropped a Chibi Robo game, I feel like lots of us Nintendo fans would be interested in trying it out again, or playing, finding out what the series is all about. But there's going to be a lot of people that just don't care about it either again, I think. And putting Chibi Robo in Smash would just boost the overall awareness of the series.
You're totally right, Xeon. The one caveat is the developer of Chibi Robo may no longer exist.
Oh no.
Like, last year, this has never been officially stated, but last year their building, they were taken off the name of the building. So and Skip Limited have done nothing since then. So there's this big conspiracy about whether Skip even are a thing anymore.
Were they ever a thing?
Chibi Robo just came from the sky one day. I mean, Nintendo owned Chibi Robo, so they could get another development studio to make it, but the fact that Skip are so silent right now and they don't seem to have a building anymore, like it's hard to say what they're even doing now.
I think the next Chibi Robo game, Nintendo should get Arzest to make it, every button jump, and make it really bad.
Didn't they do that already?
Alright, so apart from Chibi Robo, is there any other Smash character that's on your radar right now? I know there's a lot of big fan favorites. Lots of fans want Dante. They want...
I'll just quick say, I agree with Alex. I still really want Skull Kid, and it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda, so just give him to us finally. It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, my big Smash prediction is kind of just a Breath of the Wild 2 character. And I think I've said this... I might have said this before. In the past with Roy in Smash Bros. Melee, he hadn't had a game at that point. I think he predated his game by a year. And Sakurai often gets early builds, like with 3 houses. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's some Breath of the Wild 2 character we've never met before, and they're in the Fighters Pass.
Or what about Mario Mario Kart? It's Mario in a cart.
I mean, he frowns a lot more. Though he frowns quite a bit in Smash too.
He's quite angry in Smash, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I should get Diddy Kong Diddy Kong Racing.
I would like to see another Donkey Kong character, though. The stage selection is really disappointing in Ultimate. I mean, it's hard to complain too much when there's so many stages, but for Donkey Kong in particular, you've got a jungle and another jungle. And Tropical Freeze has so many options. Like, you could have the Grassland Groove level with all the animals floating around.
The Lolly Factory!
Yeah, if Dixie could come in and give us some of this variety, I'd love that.
I mean, especially too, because this is the 40th anniversary of Donkey Kong, right? So if we do happen to get a new 3D Donkey Kong game or a 2.5D or whatever, that would be another good way to help pump some more life into just Donkey Kong in general by bringing a new character into Smash. I feel like a lot of us feel the same, but I still would love to see Dixie Kong in the game. Keep Lanky out of it, especially if Lanky's in a new game. I already don't play Smash really, but I definitely wouldn't want to fight against that ever.
Oh.
Or maybe I would.
My one fear is like all the Fighters Pass characters have some kind of unique attribute. Like even Banjo has the Wonder Wing. So my fear is they're going to be like, why don't we make this a duo character like the Ice Climbers, but a bit more integral to their movesets, and they're going to bring the K word.
I know
along.
Exactly where this is going, John.
I'm not even going to say his name, but I don't want that.
You think they would do that?
Dixie Kong and Junky Kong.
Zion, I do think they would do that because
man.
Dixie, she's very different to Diddy Kong in their games. But when you put them in Smash, like what makes them unique? Like, is it just that they have slightly different moves? Like, what's their gimmick? It's got to be something like that.
That's fair. I would love to see a pass where they just release Echo Fighters of characters, because I feel like Dixie would fit that role fairly well, with Diddy Kong. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, because she doesn't really have, I don't know, it's tough. She could rely on maybe some animals to fight with, but they'd have to get pretty creative with her.
She has bubble gum?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, and she's got, of course, she has the hair flip and everything, but I really hope, I can't even say anything about Kiddy Kong. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it.
Mention that thing.
No. John, if Kiddy Kong gets into Smash,
oh God,
your forfeit is to release a 1 minute long video on the channel, no idents, no editing, just called kiddykong.mp4, and it's just you crying on camera for a minute straight.
I can feel the tears coming along right now. If Kiddy Kong gets into Smash, I don't think I can play it anymore.
Well, I mean, you could just beat up Kiddy Kong all the time. There is
That's
the pro,
think of it that way.
True.
Right. I was thinking, if Lanky Kong gets into the game, for me, that could just be a reason for me to get good. So, I mean, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, John.
Well, I really don't want Kiddy Kong in Smash. I mean, I want Dixie in, but I guess if Kiddy comes along too, I can just throw him off the edge or something. But that's something I don't want. Is there anything you guys really don't want to see, not just in Smash, but in the broader presentation?
I really don't want to see anything like DC Super Girls, whatever the hell it's called. That felt like such a... I know Nintendo's publishing it, but I don't know whether it was just somebody strong-armed it into the presentation or something, but it's like you have no idea what the audience that actually watches Nintendo Directs is. It's the nerds like us who, funnily enough, don't give a monkeys about that sort of thing. We want to see the Halos, we want to see the God of Wars, and we want to see the Banjo-Kazooies all on Nintendo Switch. We don't want to see DC Supergirls take over high school drama, dropout, mall fashion sense. 3.
This is the same company that said, tune into the Treehouse for the next Way Forward game. And it was Bakugan.
I still had hope for that game, too, and then it just completely betrayed me. It betrayed all of us.
Specifically. They betrayed you specifically.
I hope they know that this is not the venue for something like that. I hope they realize that, but I don't have confidence that they do.
Unfortunately, I think all it takes is one person high up enough or one investor to say, no, you must show this. It's shown, that these games are popular, and we want, sort of, there's a gap in the demographic. You will show this in the direct, and everyone going, no, this won't work. But if somebody's got enough sway...
That's money, baby.
I want another Game & Watch. I want Game & Watch Dosh and the Giant.
Out of all the possibilities, Alex, I mean, we're in the 35th anniversary of Zelda. A Zelda Game & Watch seems like an inevitability, but nah, Doshin.
Well, John, the Zelda Game & Watch would have to have 2 screens. That's way too many resources to throw into another tiny little handheld that's going to sit on the shelf for forever and not sell.
Ooh.
To be fair, I got that Game & Watch, and I was bloody impressed with it. I didn't play it for like a good month. I turned it on, it still had exactly the same amount of battery, and it was just like, yep, go. There was no boot or anything like that. It was just in some crazy low-power sleep mode.
You know what would be cool, actually? I don't know if this is even possible, because it would be altering the original game.
Rowan Atkinson in a bathtub of baked beans.
I mean, why do you keep stealing what I'm going to say? What I was going to say is much like the Mario Game & Watch, which put Super Mario Bros. Onto a Game & Watch looking like the original Mario Game & Watch. With Zelda, what they could do is they could bring back the dual screen one of the original Zelda Game & Watch, but put the original Zelda on there, and have like the top screen show maps, or like your inventory screen or something.
That would be so amazing.
I can't really see that happening because that would make the original Zelda, have quality of life features.
That would be nice. It's like not necessary, but I mean, the Wii U didn't necessarily need maps on the bottom screen either. I would very much welcome that. And then, yeah, you're saying that then you could still play the original Legend of Zelda Game & Watch through those two screens.
Sure, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I wonder if they would be more inclined to do a Donkey Kong one this year as well, because you were kind of saying isn't there a two-screen Donkey Kong unit as well?
Yeah, I believe so.
Or what if they're like, well, we're already making the Zelda one, let's just make a Donkey Kong one too, and it's the same unit, but it's orange instead of green, and then they have classic Donkey Kong on there too.
That'd be very cool.
I hope the original Game & Watch Mario Bros. The Mario Game & Watch from last year sold well enough. I know, I made a joke about it sitting at retailers, but hopefully Nintendo made their money back and can make more, because it is such it's a nice piece. It's a nice little just handheld.
We have been going for a while, but I do want to. We've left some big things out. One of the biggest things is Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Right. I saw this earlier. So Breath of the Wild 1, from its original showcase, just the teaser of the Guardian chasing Link, from that until its big E3 blowout the year before it released, we have gone the same span from that to the original Breath of the Wild 2 teaser to now. Oof. The game has been announced for 2 years now. It doesn't feel like it.
Really doesn't.
No.
But then again, 2020 was a write-off.
Yeah, so it was announced 2 years ago. The original game finished development 4 years ago. So it's likely that this is coming towards the end of development. It probably won't launch this year, but it's at least it's getting on. They probably have something to show. So what do we expect to see from Breath of the Wild 2, if it's going to be there at all?
I would like to see a trailer like the Breath of the Wild trailer, not the initial teaser or the ones giving erroneous release dates, but the one like the E3 presentation, the big one with that music that everyone remembers. I want to see something like that. I want them to show loads of new stuff. I want them to really blow us away with what they've been working on, which is presumably Breath of the Wild 2. Yeah. And give it a name, like Dungeons in the Deep or something. I mean, that's a crap name, but it's
better than most fan names. Most of them are like The Legend of Zelda and the Hour of Darkness.
I read one the other day that was I think it was The Legend of Zelda Second Breath, and I was like, I like that. I kind of like that. I don't know why.
They've got to realize how important this game is, though. I mean, with a lot of sequels to big games that sort of reuse elements from the previous one, their development cycles are usually shorter. But this has been in development for a while now. And it can't just be Breath of the Wild again, because Breath of the Wild redefined Zelda, and I think you kind of have to keep that process going with the sequel. So I don't know what I expect, but I do expect to be blown away.
I do hope so too. This is E3. 2019 E3 was huge for so many reasons, and it would just make sense for Nintendo to kind of bring it back. Part of me thinks that they're going to hold back some big Zelda news for a Zelda Direct later this year, but who knows? Nintendo does whatever they want. And if they do show us something, great. Part of me also hopes that they don't show us too much if the game is too far out. Because I don't want... I'm almost kind of like Metroid, I don't want to see much of the game until they're ready to show it, I suppose. And it's been so long that I'm hoping that they're not feeling pressure to just show something in general, I just hope they're ready to show something, I suppose.
On the topic of Metroid, if Metroid 5 isn't shown, I will sit in a duck pond.
You're really going to do it, eh?
Yep.
Where is this duck pond, John? I want to be present in the flesh.
Okay. Well, there's a duck pond. There's quite a big one with swans and ducks in my hometown. So I'll get...
If you can wait a short time, I will be partially vaccinated soon. I will come down and I will watch you sit in the duck pond.
All right.
And I will film it, and we will put it on the channel.
I thought Alex was going to say he would join you, and no, he just said he would watch you.
This is a solo deal. I do feel like Metroid 5 is coming, though. Prime 4, I don't think it's coming anytime soon. They restarted development, was it 2019 they got restarted?
Something like that, yeah. It was worryingly recently.
Yeah, so I don't expect to even get a glimpse of that game. But I think they'll continue their momentum. Like, Samus Returns was 4 years ago now. So Mercury's Steam have probably gone to the next project, and they did tease Metroid 5 at the end of Samus Returns. So I think it's time for that game now.
I really don't want to see a new Fire Emblem game. I love the series, but I'm a little burnt out on it.
The comment section's gonna love you.
And that's fine. I'm just a little burnt out on it. Three Houses was a lot of fun in many ways, but I think it just
Three games in one.
It felt a little unfinished in areas as well. I think especially when I was playing something like Persona 5, you know, you look at the backgrounds and the environments, and the story of Three Houses was pretty good, and I only played one route, but I don't have time to play the other two, or I think there's more than just 3 routes. I would love to see them go back to Advance Wars and do, even if the game isn't as big of a scale as something like Battalion Wars on GameCube and Wii, like I would just love to see them revisit that franchise instead. Give Fire Emblem a little bit of a break, because I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like all of us are just a little, we're drowning in Fire Emblem content.
I guess just logistically, what is Intelligent Systems doing? Because Koei Tecmo were the primary lead for Three Houses. So like, we're pretty sure Intelligent Systems are doing WarioWare, but this is a studio that tend to juggle projects, and WarioWare isn't something that would require everyone to be like all on board on. So I just feel like logistically, Fire Emblem probably makes sense to come back now.
Fire Emblem 4 Houses.
Was that what the DLC was? I'm pretty sure they had like a
Basically,
fourth house
yeah.
or something, yeah.
It was like a 4th house called Slytherin or something.
I'm trying to think of what I could do if a new Fire Emblem game gets announced.
Okay, yeah, let's set this. So, Alex, I want you to decide this. If a Fire Emblem game gets announced, what does Xeon have to do?
You have to take... Do you have Fire Emblem 3 Houses physically?
No.
Take your Switch.
Were you going to tell me to lick the cartridge?
No, I was going to say suck the cartridge for 30 seconds.
Oh, God.
Oh, do you want me to die?
I have a feeling you won't die.
Just be seriously injured.
You know, gross injury maybe, but you know.
Licking Switch cartridges is enough. Oh.
I tell you what, you have to do a short video giving tasting notes, just released on Twitter or something, just giving tasting notes for different Switch cartridges.
While cosplaying as Edelgard from Three Houses.
Absolutely.
I'll take the tasting video.
Okay. Well, on that note, I think we've discussed this for long enough. 1 hour of Nintendo E3 predictions. How are you guys feeling about this presentation? We're a couple of days away. Are you excited?
I'm feeling hot, but that's probably the room.
I'm pretty excited. The more that we talk about it, the more excited I get. I have very simple expectations for it. You know, if they just announce something fun and new, you know, something maybe that we haven't seen, you know, maybe a new Japanese remake, give us a new Pushmo, you know, I will be a happy camper. And it's E3. Nintendo hasn't done one in over a year, so I'm pretty excited for it. I think there's a lot on the line, but easy ways to make us happy.
I'm trying to be rationally optimistic, because I realize it makes sense for a lot of studios to be turning in their games, but we also just went through a 1.5-year pandemic, which is going to delay things. So I won't be disappointed, or I won't feel like my year is ruined if something doesn't show. So there's time. Things are going to come along. But I am excited. So, yeah, I guess let us know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you think is going to show up in this Direct, and what do you want to see? Thank you for watching, and go to the subscribe button and predict what it's going to look like in a week's time. Will it have a Mario on it? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Man, I can't wait for Famicom Detective Club 3.
Bulborb for Smash.